What's going on, everyone? How are you all doing out there? Thank you so much for tuning in to another wonderful episode of Just My Opinion Reviews. Super duper excited, guys, because we're talking that superhero comic book stuff, and you know I love that. To be specific, this is Loki, season 2, not season 1. This is season 2 on Disney Plus. This is going to be covering episode 1, titled episode 2.1. No, we don't have the actual titles of the episodes, but yes, this is going to be over episode 1. I want to let you know, guys, it just debuted on Disney Plus. Was it Thursday? It's October 5th at 8 p.m. CST. This is pre-recorded. This is not live. And so me and my homie right here wanted to come and give you our initial thoughts of episode 1. This is going to be full spoilers, okay? We're going to spoil it up, down, left, right, in and out as if you've already seen it. That is your warning, okay? And if you love what we have to say, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on social media, all that good stuff. But let me introduce my guest. You can see I'm not here by myself. I have one half of Big Gold Belt Media, Mr. Nagier. How are you doing, sir? How are you today?
What it do, B. Avery? Thanks for having me back on the channel. Talk some Loki season 2.
Of course, man. Of course. I really do appreciate you being here, man. Real talk, real talk. It means a lot to me. Okay. It means a lot to me. And if y'all like what my guy here has to say, follow him as well. He's on my channel tab right here. And this is what his channel looks like. And so give him some love as well. Help him hit his next milestone too. And I almost forgot, guys. This is the reaction after the first episode, but I will be going live this coming Friday, October 6th at 6:05 p.m. CST right there. So, you know, this is pre-recorded, but if you want to kick it with your boy Bravery Live, come through. Hit that subscribe button. There's a link to this in the description and comment section of this video anyway. But let's go ahead and get into this Loki season 2, man. I really did like the first 2 episodes of Loki season 1. I thought it was the best thing in the world. Like, oh my God, the sacred timeline. This is dope, and purging this and alternate universes and variants. Man, hold up. This is amazing. Episode 3 and 4 was a dip for me, and the finale was it was meh. You know, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I was really disappointed with the cliffhanger that we got, and a lot of people gave me a hard time for that this year. But we're in season 2 right now. I was really looking forward to it. My anticipation was high. And I will say, with the way that season 1 ended, I like where we're at right now in episode 1 of season 2. There was a great sense of urgency. Now, Disney did, thank you, Disney, for giving us access. They gave us the first 4. We're not going to talk about episode 1. The first time I watched it, of course, I felt a certain way. The second time I watched it, I felt better. And the reason why I say that, Nagier, is one of the things at the beginning is when he crashed, when he jumped off the balcony into the car and flew through the window. That kind of scene right there kind of came off kind of goofy and silly, and it put a bad taste in my mouth initially. But second time around, I it didn't bother me at all. But overall, I think this was a pretty decent start to episode 1. I do have some criticisms about it that I can't give until episode 2 because it'll spoil some things. But how did you feel about this first episode, man? Did it work for you or did it not? Where you at?
Yeah, to talk about that scene, I mean, I liked it because it just gave me a traditional old school Star Wars. So I was like, oh yeah, I know that's a nod towards, you know. But it's a very solid first episode. And it's been overall a very just solid season. I think I had a lot of questions coming into episode 1. Obviously, we wanted to know where we pick up at, and I know the synopsis and everything says it's picking up immediately afterwards. But they say that all the time, and it ends up being a couple of days or something time jump and whatnot because it's just kind of a figurative statement. But we actually do pick up immediately where we ended up off of season 1. So to me, it was like, okay, back to the basics, but I think the introduction to, and as we see right here, this is a big moment for me. If you can't root for Key and everything he's done in the last 2 to 3 years, and I mean, even from the filming all the way to just being on screen, uh, this is such a subtle and humble introduction, but it's such a big deal because you have to you have to consider him in the elite status of actors. So I'm intrigued. I'm all giggly inside. I'm like, who's this OB character? And the more and more we learn about this character and his involvement and sort of his like almost his fandom of the TVA, but also the pioneer of the TVA, somebody who knows some things, somebody who can't be surprised about what's happening with Loki and his time skipping. I just I like the introduction of the new characters. I like the reestablishment of our older characters, and also really fleshing out some characters who really didn't have much last season. We start to see them become a little bit bigger in their roles. But I think the biggest thing for episode 1 is the change in direction from the first season. It was really about the mystery of the TVA, if you ask me, and what the TVA serves, and obviously stopping variants, till it becoming protecting the longevity of the TVA and the protection of these timelines and everything, so that the toning shift and the direction shift also, I think, affected our main characters in Mobius and Loki as well too, who we now see them more in a buddy cop capacity. So like everything's a little bit different, but I'm still digging it. Still very solid for me.
Yeah, man. I like that. Well said. And one thing that we're learning is immediately at the beginning of episode 1 is there is a such thing as time slippage, or the concept of time itself.
Yeah.
During the first few phases, I can't even talk. First few phases of Marvel, the Infinity Stones were it. That was a super duper MacGuffin. Like, man, if you just have one of them, you
Yeah.
top dollar, top dog. And let alone all 6. But then when we get to Loki season 1, they're nothing. Like, it just doesn't work in this realm of existence here. I mean, they're still powerful, but just not here. There's another big boss in town. So that was established, but also what was established is that again, there's no really concept of time. Mobius was saying that it just really doesn't work like that here. But we find the exact opposite is true at the very beginning of this episode 1. I love that. There is a past, there is a present, there is a future in the TVA, and nobody knows about it. This variant Loki is the one that discovers it accidentally. And I like that. The way that they told this story, especially when Obi Ouroboros is trying to be the maintenance man. There's no such thing as a time slippage, and Loki is going back and forth through time and telling that story like, okay, hey, we're in the past now, but what I need you to do is build a device, and so when we get back to the future, it can already be there. And even Obi, he's smart. This would be so convenient is if the conversation we're having now was in the past and there's another one. Oh, and I thought that was brilliant. I
So
loved
cool.
it. I was smiling from ear to ear like, this is genius. I just didn't expect it, and it was executed to a T. I really did like that. It wasn't confusing. It was easy to follow,
Well,
for me at least. How did you feel?
yeah, and I'm just going to quickly jump in there and say it's because our thoughts about how time work has always been questioned and tested in all of these projects. But as you mentioned, in the TVA, things run and operate differently. So we go more of the traditional route in terms of how we assume time travel works. So you said, cool. So if I go meet my previous self, does that update my knowledge of what I know today? The MC has told you that no 1,000 times. Now we're seeing it in a way that is, again, more traditional to what we can expect, and they're using it geniusly. And I think that it's cool to see that, and it's cool to really understanding how important and significant the TVA is. As you mentioned, like the Infinity Stones have always been, the big dog on campus here, but we see the TVA has its own little marvels within it, and yeah, no doubt. and OB, like I mean, this truly is a fascinating scene shot between past and current, Loki and OB, as they do this. And I like how the fact of like aging wasn't really a thing, because they both look very good for their age here.
Right.
So I mean, honestly, if I had a chance to talk to either of them, I would just love to ask, how was it to film these side by side? Because watching it was just was just amazing to me. Definitely like one of the very high points of this first episode.
Agreed. Something else that I liked is nobody knows what the hell to do. Everybody is running around with their heads chopped off. Like, what in the world is this? We're in the Truman
Yeah.
Show. I thought we were the ones in control, but no. Okay, I'm just another variant. Okay, I'm just another like ant in this puzzle. Like, what is going on? Like, and what's fascinating is again, I like the sense of urgency at the very beginning. You know, they thought the timekeepers was it, but they was nothing but some robotic androids. Ravonna Renslayer is missing. Google and Bathara. Miss Menace is gone. And so we have these new characters. I was gonna call her Dreadlock. I don't know where that name came from. But the judges, man, what I forgot the name. I forgot the name of the judges, man, that were talking to. That's not it. What I want to pull up right here, this cast list. I don't see. Help me out. So we got Hunter D90. He came through. He's the one that told them to come through to the war room.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't find the names, but y'all know who I'm talking about. When I like when people need to listen. And I don't know the actress's name. I think she was the older Asian lady that was sitting in the chair, one of the judges, and she was just like, make it make sense. And Beef Hunter B15 was like, we just need a few moments to explain. The other character with the accent was like, do it into the mic. We're going to do this by the book. And she just explained, you know, the situation of what's going on. And nobody know. I mean, like, this is just a crack in the whole system. Okay, do we go this way? Do we go this way? What are your beliefs? What are your beliefs? We all have to fix the TVA, but everybody has a different way of going about it. And also with Hunter B15, man, she was pretty prejudiced in season 1. Effing variant. Like, just the way that she talked to him and treated them. But now she finds out that she's a variant and she's all nice and compassionate and loving, like, oh no, we can't branch the timelines anymore. These are people. Wait a minute, you didn't have a problem doing it in season 1, but now it's a big deal. Well, how do you feel about all of that, bro? I know I threw a lot at you, man, but how do you feel about it?
And like, I started to question, like, did I watch season 1? Because I'm confused about what I thought people's positions were in terms of now what their stance is. And I like to attest that this is everybody under like the utmost distress. You know, folks are like, okay, none of us knows what's going on. And I now almost like to kind of like correlate myself. Like, this is a big office building. Say it's a natural disaster happening, like an earthquake. What you going to do? What are you going to do? You leaving out the building running? You're going to hide under your desk as they tell you to? You know, is it really an earthquake? All these sorts of different things. So everybody's kind of flip-flopping in terms of like just the normal day or normal procedures to like, yeah, there's something happening and I don't know what to think. But ultimately, just to start dancing around everything, understanding that folks, with their thoughts about what and who ran the TVA has not only created doubt, but now that everyone's starting to understand that folks are variant, now nobody even has a clue of either who they are, what their significance are, and their stance about variance. And I think that's kind of how it is. It's a little bit about humanity. It's like, oh, if it doesn't affect me, it's not a problem.
Right.
Oh, shoot. Dang. All right, you know what? I did like them. You're right. So I think it's interesting, and it is a huge jerk in the change of direction for where we Lou in the first in the first season. But I think that is on par for Loki. Even when you look at the title graphics and the letters are changing. I know you want to say like, oh, that's because you're going through different multiverses and whatnot. I think if this is the tone of Loki going forward, that they're just going to keep changing the direction or the tones this season, I would be okay with that. It's almost like never ever have confidence in what you know, because the uncertainty is the most important thing. Is that everybody at any given point could just change their logic or their mindset about everything. And I think, again, looking at somebody like P15 and even D90, who were very on one side, and you're going to see a whole different flop with them in this one. It's interesting.
Man. Yeah, very, very interesting. Kind of want to talk about the titular character himself now, Loki, Tom Hiddleston. Loved him. You know, initially when he got to the TVA, very, very arrogant, very cocky. But he's been humbled big time. He
Yeah.
is afraid. He is like, this is the devil. He's coming. He's panicking. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love the acting. I love the performance. I think I've said this 3 or 4 times. I love the sense of urgency. The conversations that he was having with Obius at the very beginning of this episode, and also just the questions that Obius is asking, like, okay, where you been? Where's Sylvie? How did you appear just like that out of nowhere? You know what I'm saying? Like, that just wasn't brushed over. I even
Right.
like the comedy. How does it look? Does it hurt? When he's going back and forth the time, and he's like, no, how does it feel? But when they're in
Mhm.
the elevator, he's like, okay, it looks like being born, you're dying at the same time. Then they pan the camera over and show the other little teenage boy, or little intern. That was funny. I got a laugh out of that. But I do love the sense of urgency of him just being scared, him being nervous, him purging the wall and showing
Mhm.
that is he who remains back there, not these three fake time figures or time bosses or
Mhm.
whatever. I forgot the
Authority.
name of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Me
yeah, there you
too, but
go.
robots nonetheless
Yeah.
once it got
So
all said and done.
I like all of that, man. Do you agree or disagree? Because I think Tom Hiddleston is coming through very strong with his performance in this second season.
I know he's a fan favorite, and he's just when you talk about just any of his roles, you're just suspect an actor of the utmost caliber. I mean, he is Loki at this point. So the moment he's on screen, you already know what you're getting, and there's just no slack. It's just a step forward again with not only the character, but just again another just solid performance. So it's hard for me to even like rate him besides like, yeah, you know what he's gonna do. It's just like LeBron. LeBron gonna go out there, you're getting 30 minimum, period. That's just it. Like, oh, LeBron scored 30 today. Am I supposed to be
Yeah.
excited? Like, nah, this is what Tom does. But again, I enjoy more or less this cat and mouse dynamic from season one to now this buddy cop dynamic between the two of them. And I think, when you talk about Owen, who has traditionally played these very mischievous but like comedic roles. It's very interesting to see a character in Mobius now in doubt and actually admiring Loki for what he's been through, what he knows, and even his curiosity and this complete voyage of finding Sylvie here. So like it's interesting how they changed that. And I think it's great. You got two good actors and you want to use them with each other on the same side. I think it works. As much as you had them against each other before, it's good to
Mhm.
see them on the same path. So I'm digging it.
I am too, man. I am too. Another character that's smaller, I just like him for some reason, is Eugene Cordero. He's playing Casey. Uh, actually, yeah, Casey. I like him. I do. It's just something that's innocent about him and kind of fascinating. Him looking at Loki like, dude, what is your deal? I'm gonna try to
Yeah.
help you out, but stay away from you at the same time. You have any thoughts on him or anything like that?
He's us. He's absolutely us. It's like, huh, if there's a moment I can learn something here, or maybe I could be a fan of somebody here. And yes, there's definitely some reservations at certain points in terms of his interactions with Loki. But through this season, he becomes Loki one of my favorite characters just because of just the fandom behind him at times. But he's also a key part to the success of the overall mission. And I don't know exactly when that becomes like relevant to everything, so I'm not going to say it. But he sort of becomes a likable supporting character that you just enjoy. Definitely. I hadn't even thought about it until you mentioned, but definitely a character. I was like, I like that little bite that he added there.
Yeah, 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 man. Also just they have their mission here. When they get the extractor, and they figure that out when they're meeting up with OB Ouroboros.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a comment like, "Oh, we having all these power surges coming out of nowhere."
Mm-hmm.
Obi's like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" They go into the room, they see that the sacred timeline is just going haywire. So they're
Yeah.
like, rip off the skin and purge yourself from time and all of this. It's interesting mission. Did you like it? Did you hate it? You know, did you? And also, I want to ask you this. Of course, again, Marvel Disney, thank you for the access. We really do appreciate it. But there's been other reviews that came out for the show so far. I did give my reaction for the first four and also a non-spoiler review for the first four episodes. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead, link in the description. But I also checked out some other people's stuff as well, other creators online. And something that I came across that was common is they said that a lot of stuff was going on in this episode. Some people were confused and had to kind of piece the puzzle together. It was kind of difficult for them. They may have been talking about all first four episodes, but I think they were just talking about the first one. Did you feel that way at all? Was it hard for you to follow, or was it pretty easy for you to?
I didn't think I was even going to get a chance to say this on this review. First of all, anybody who said that, because whether you got 4 episodes, whether you attended a live premiere where they got to see the first 2 episodes, whatever question you had for the first episode, you absolutely got that ironed out to some extent by the second episode. And then certainly you got 4 episodes. You absolutely know exactly what's going on. So that's a really interesting take because, yes, I will say the first episode, there is a lot going on. And I think every time you're talking about time, it starts to become confusing because we have our preconceived notions of how time works. We have our preconceived notions in terms of the stability of time and timeline. We also have our prior knowledge in terms of them sustaining the timelines and the integrity of these timelines from season 1. So you're like, well, how did we get here? Is the first question. But obviously, you have to start the question. There's turmoil happening in the TVA. So I can almost say anomalies, the power surges, the time slipping with Loki. They addressed that pretty early. And then some other little indications of things that you say, there's something going on here. It may have been very confusing if you watch one episode and you had nothing else to do, which for folks watching this, you already watched it now, which you're like, okay, I don't know if I grasped everything that's going on. Fine, episode 2, you'll be taken care of. So just hold on. It's a 6 episode season. You got time. But I'm here to very confidently say, and I said this in my review of the first 4 episodes, is that the first 4 episodes is a complete story itself. From the moments of the first episode where you just kind of like, I don't know what's happening there or why did that happen. I know we're going to talk in detail what it is with Sylvie and Loki, where that will be answered by the 4th episode, a complete arc to the point I'm so confident even saying that if this was a 4-season episode, I'd be okay because the cliffhanger for episode 4, I could wait. I'd be very intrigued to say, I wonder how they're going to come back from that. So now I'm concerned because I'm like, they got 2 episodes to wrap up some big things right away for a season. But if it was 4 episodes and they left us off with that and we had to wait for another season to finish telling an aspect of the story, then I'm cool with that. So like, by no means do I think that it's so confusing to a point you should panic. If you don't understand, don't worry. Episode 2 got you. And by all means, I'm very confident in saying that. But 4 episodes in, you'll have everything pretty much understood in terms of what is the predicament happening here. What is every character's motivation? And even with a little cliffhanger to leave you wanting more.
I'm gonna come back to that. Because I agree with half. I'm gonna come back to that. Is there any criticisms that you have about episode 1, stuff that you just didn't like, it didn't work for you, or is there any plot points that you want to talk about real quick that we haven't brought up yet?
No, because I'm very like rational with my Disney Plus stuff because Disney Plus was always like a companion to the overall MCU. So that means anything we got here in on Disney Plus was always like added bonus content. So I was never like expecting much of this to move the needle. And maybe I'm just traumatized from the Agents of Shield and what was it called? Inhumans. No, all the stuff that we got on, the regular television back in the day, where like we thought they were going to be like the big side things that happened to the MCU, and they were just like extra content to the side. And the MCU, and then with the Disney Plus portion of the MCU, especially with this first slate of things announced, when you got WandaVision, what was it, Falcon Winter Soldier, and this. I think these were the first 3 that were announced, if I'm not mistaken, right? I just was never expecting too much from them. I just was like, they're going to be what they're going to be, and I'm cool with that. So to me, my criticism about it is that Loki is exactly what season 1 was. It's just the next chapter of it. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't try to push any limits on it or anything. It's just picking up where the first one left off at. So I knew my expectations were very much on par from what I had expected from the first one. I'm cool with that. So not
Okay.
mad at it at all. I think though, if I can say, my reservations I had to this was like, what is the deal with Jonathan Majors, and will the will his personal stuff become a factor with the character? Would they have to change directions in terms of the overall in phase 5 and phase 6 plans? And or would Marvel stand behind their story and then let that be a thing? So I was just like, how would that be a factor into this? And that's probably a conversation for another day. But even that, I think is I'm definitely okay with how this played out for the first 4 episodes.
Okay, appreciate that. Real quick before we go, we got to talk about Sylvie because she did pop up at the end of the episode and the post-credit scene. But not to be obnoxious, but well, we saw that Loki was purged at the very end of the episode. Now, we don't know who purged him at the end of the episode. Now, when I say obnoxious, we did find out later what happened in a future episode. We can't spoil that here. But I want to hear from you guys in the chat. What do you think happened? Because Loki was trying to purge himself, but he didn't purge himself. Something else purged him right as he saw Sylvie opening the elevator door. What do you think happened there? What do you think is going on? Let us know. Let's engage. I will also be talking about that in the live broadcast while I'm leaking up with you guys. And also, I'm mad at Sylvie Nagier. She tripping. How the hell Loki was trying to talk you out of murdering the He Who Remains at the season finale, episode 1. So you're gonna do that. You're gonna go in and shoot up the club and then run out of there and hide and then want to go kick it at McDonald's or whatever. Hold on, that's the wrong image. You want to destroy the universe, destroy the multiverse. Oh, I done made a mess. I don't want to clean it up. I'm just gonna go hide in another timeline. And so you're gonna go in the field where there's a McDonald's and hide out. What kind of mess is that? That is so irresponsible. If you're gonna make a mess, stay for the party.
Yeah, stay firm on your actions, my friend.
She throw the rock and hit a hand, bro. How'd you feel about that? I don't like it. I don't like it. How'd you feel about that?
Zero accountability is exactly the tidbit here. But you know what? You talk about criticism. Sylvie is the character that I think loses her way, and I think this was the start. I have a hard time confidently saying right now her relevance, besides being a variant and obviously good actor, and obviously somebody that Loki is in pursuit of. But what? How long does that last until that becomes resolved? And it's like, well, what next for Sylvie? But yeah, okay, sure. Just like Thanos, let me go ahead and just snap half of the universe off and then Little House on the Prairie. She tried to do the same thing, but she just tried to like go off the grid and go to McDonald's and serve Happy Meals and try everything. I was like, wait, what? Like for real? So I did love, I always love a good stinger in the MCU, but I definitely was like, is she serious? Because I'm confused right now. So
guys, let us know what you think about the whole episode 1 of Loki season 2. You can spoil away in the comments. It doesn't matter because this is for spoilers, but that is going to wrap it up for our episode 1 recap review for Loki season 2. Had a good time with my boy Nagier here with Big Gold Belt Media. Thank you so much for coming through, sir. And again, if you want to see my reaction for the first 4 episodes, you can. It's right there. And also my full review, non-spoilers, for the first 4 episodes. And also come through Friday, 6 p.m. CST. I'm going live and it's going down. I want to chit chat with you guys. And so I would love to have you hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Before we head out of here, man, you got anything on the good channel you want to promote to the good people coming up?
Power for the folks that like that is there. And other than that, I guess we got some New York Comic-Con content coming next week. So we're gonna see how that plays out. But other than that, man, just another day at work, and we'll see what pops up on there. But I always appreciate, and I say we at Big O Belt Media, we always appreciate you all's love and support.
Yeah, and this weekend, The Exorcist is gonna be opening up. So check out his review for that. If y'all want. Also, check out my review for Saw X. It was pretty good, and
Yes,
also
sir.
the latest episode of Super Duper every Sunday, 6 p.m. CST, when I talk nothing but super duper comic book news and all that hot jazz. But guys, again, we want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that I'm B. Avery, that's Nagier, and that's just our opinion. Peace out, and we'll see you next time.